Brian here for quantlabs.net, recording about the signaling. So if you guys got any questions, just jump on in and I'll answer them as we go through this. So let me just blow up this stuff so you can properly see it. So you can see that screen, no problem?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So basically what I've done over the last week or so is I've got live signaling working. I'm just working on the track record component right now. It's looking pretty good today. And Saturday was a really good day. So it's just slightly above 50%. So that should be enough to grow an account. The forex has been pretty active with today's news in the euro. And let me just get some. I'm gonna mute everybody just so we can. Hang on here. So don't be offended if I mute you. Okay. All right. So everybody's muted just for background noise. All right. So I'll continue along. So I've been running the live signaling pretty good for the last couple of weeks. Been pretty good. As I said, the track record's just above 50. There is a lot of volatility in the markets. And to be honest, Bitcoin and the whole crypto space has been pretty well dead and trading sideways for the last couple of weeks. So one indicator says, well, it's going to go up to 200,000, which is laughable. And then there's a few more that are saying it's going to drop down to 10,000. So I don't know where Bitcoin's going to go. So in terms of signaling, here's the data sources. You know, I use Kraken for my crypto out of California, so they're US regulated. And also for the forex CFD stuff, I'm using Oanda. And Oanda, again, supports for the US as well. Now, the cool thing about it is I'm going to talk a little bit about the expert advisor. Been testing that pretty good. How that expert advisor is going to work within any supported MetaTrader 4. But the signaling will come from Oanda. So as a result, as I said here, it is strongly recommended to go with what I have, Oanda and Kraken, to synchronize with the data and the orders. So they'll be all synchronized. One of the big improvements I made on the signaling is it should get into your inbox within 30 seconds once the signal is generated at my end. So it's pretty quick considering email. If you have any questions, just let me know, and you could just type them up in the chat. You should see a window under a window, obviously. So as it stands right now, people will ask, what's the format? These are the formats. So you're either going to get a crypto signal, and this is still under test. That's why I have this word test in there. It's not final yet, but this is pretty well what it's going to look like. It'll be either a crypto or a forex signal. And again, that's going to be either coming from the Oanda or it'll come from Kraken. Everything I do in crypto will be traded in US dollar. This is a momentum-based strategy, so that's what the MOM stands for. And both strategies and signals are momentum-based. I do have another strategy in development, and we've been testing it with some pretty good success, actually. Really good success is mean reverting pair trading for crypto, for forex. A few months ago, I've come to the conclusion that we cannot really pair trade crypto at all because just the volatility is just too crazy, and there's really no set pattern that you would get as compared to forex. Because in forex, you can definitely work in a better environment. So again, coming back to what the format is. So this is a crypto signal. This would be the email headline or subject, the date, and the time it's generated. So obviously the signal becomes useless after a couple of minutes because the market's been so volatile. that the opportunity may last an hour, can maybe last a couple hours. Just depends upon the volume, depends upon the momentum, depends upon the trend, and it all depends on that and the news and the calendar and what's going on. So there's no fixed set of how many signals you can expect per day. So here we have the pair. Both strategies can only long. I know the shorting's probably more lucrative, but that's more of a riskier type of trade. So right now I'm just focusing on long and momentum for now. As I said, I'm going to bring in a pair trade for arbitrage for forex. So this is the subject line. So in the actual body, what will happen is you'll get the pair, the entry. This is the last closing price, and then these become the Fibonacci levels. So this would be I think it's 382, and then I can't remember the exact, but it would be 500, 618, 786, and 100 levels. So that's in that order. And if it's, let's say, for example, the forex strategy is good because all you need is the entry. So if you're going to follow what I do with MetaTrader 4, and you have your expert advisor that you can download ready to go to receive that change in the signal, it will then put an automatic order into your MetaTrader 4 for you and handle the entry as well as the exit logic based upon the Fibonacci levels that you're feeding it through the signal parameters. So that's how that kind of works in the world of forex with MetaTrader 4. I could do MetaTrader 5 if I wanted, but the problem is that I've done market research and there's very few, if any, not a lot of forex brokers that handle MetaTrader 5. So I'm just keeping it at MetaTrader 4 for now. I could also do everything in 100% in Python, but I'm trying to address a market need for traders out there that don't have a lot of programming chops or skills, so that this is a much easier, that you'll just need to download a Python script from my GitHub repository, and then using Outlook on Windows with a special add-in that I recommend that you use. And then obviously you have MetaTrader on the same system, and you should be ready to go 24/7, not 24/7, but 24/6, however long the Forex markets are open for. So again, that's kind of how it works. Any questions on that in the chat? I can unmute people. Whoever wants to be unmuted, just let me know. If not, I'll continue. Okay, so with everything in place, so this is where I'm going to provide an exit signal as well as part of the service. But if you are using the MetaTrader EA or expert advisor I provide, then you don't really need to worry about the exit signal, because as I said, the expert advisor will handle that for you in your open session of your MetaTrader 4. Okay, so that's Forex. And again, okay, hang on HFT, I'll get you unmuted here. Just give me a second here. Okay. Go ahead.
No, I can wait till after the seminar. It's not that important.
Okay.
That's why I set up the seminar.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay, so, all right, so continuing along. So let's get into the world of crypto. Crypto's a totally different beast. If you're new to crypto's really different. With anything else but crypto, let's say with Forex or anything you trade through interactive brokers, be it stock, options, or Forex, or futures, you put a trade in via their API or their software, you're going to be issued back an ID for the trade, for the position, for the order. So you can then put on your change your quantity. You can change your all the things you can change on the order while it's live and trading. In the world of crypto, it doesn't work that way. How it works in crypto is basically you're buying and selling whatever your base currency is. So let's say if you're on Kraken in US dollar and your account's in US dollar, your account will basically trade the equivalent of whatever you're trading for whatever crypto coin. So if you're trading a Bitcoin, and let's say the market price is 10,000 US, that's what you're going to trade. But in my signaling, I purposely minimize the position size of what's required for the broker or the exchange. That's just for testing. So the position sizing is very minimal, or whatever is set by the exchange or the broker for minimal. But going back to the concept of when you're buying, let's say, from US dollar to Bitcoin, you're just doing that. You're buying Bitcoin. So there's really no position open for you. What it will do is you'll have a new account where you'll have X amount of dollars, and when you do the purchase of Bitcoin, you'll now have a new account for Bitcoin and the amount in Bitcoin. So if you go out and then buy Ethereum, you'll have a certain amount left over in your US dollar account, and then whatever the amount will be in Ethereum, as well as you'll have Bitcoin. So there's no positions here, so to speak, when it comes to other brokers, because again, this is an exchange, not a broker. That's why we need to understand that. So when you go out and you buy, let's say in this case, Bitcoin USD and an entry, and again, remember it's momentum based. So we get this is a subject that you'll get in the email, and then you'll get your timestamp of when that signal gets generated. And then in the body, it's the same exact format as in forex, where you have the symbol, always in US dollar, whatever crypto it is, the entry, and then the price. So again, this is the Fibonacci levels that I spoke of, and then that's the entry. So now we don't have MetaTrader to trade on our behalf with a custom built expert advisor. With the crypto, we have to do it ourselves. So there will be a need to write a script to do all those orders for you. So if you go over to my GitHub repository, you will find some samples of how to do that. And again, if you're familiar with how I do it using Python with a package called CCXT, that is your wrapper to your exchange. So you can just write that in CCXT and send out the order using the template of what CCXT provides, and then from there be able to execute that trade. Now, Kraken, at the beginning when I started using it, I was a little leery on Kraken, but it's gone through a lot of supposed improvements. With Kraken, the cool thing is you can do margin trading, open up a margin account. I can't remember the amount that's maximum. I think it's like not very much, 3 or 4 or 5 times. As well, you can short or borrow a crypto coin as long as you have enough to cover in your account. So you can now do shorting within Kraken. And before any of this, you couldn't short unless you had $10,000 in another exchange. I can't remember if it was Polyonex or Bitfinex or one of those other US-based exchanges. So now with Kraken, we have the ability to short or conceptually short. So we have that ability. But again, we're only longing right now in this particular strategy. So again, same format when you get an exit signal. This is the name in the subject. Again, it's always in test until we move out of that. And then we have the exit, the symbol, the timestamp, and then the body, exact same. The crypto coin is an exit yes, and is again using those Fibonacci levels that do not change from the entry. So that is how, or the format of each email signal will be. Now, a lot of people will go, well, how many signals will I get per day, per trading session? Between forex, between starting, if you're in my time zone, Eastern Standard Time, same as New York, your trading can start up as soon as Sunday 5 p.m. and then it can go through Friday night. I had a few Fridays ago trading and signals were still being generated. Don't ask me why. Up until 8 p.m. my time. I thought it was a bug, but it's not. So there was still somehow activity going on within Rwanda up until around 7, 8 o'clock at night on a Friday night. So that can happen, but that to me seems to be fairly rare. Now, again, the markets always change every freaking day. Like when you get crypto, you're going to get a bunch of coins that will trade, and then the next day, another set of coins will trade. So as an example, Stellar was trading a little bit, not much, but last night there were some signals generated. But throughout the whole day since the prior midnight, there was no activity. But there were some trades, I think it was no more than 4 or 5 entries and exits or orders. Today, it's a lot more active. It's trading Bitcoin, Dash, EOS. So it's a totally different market. And there's going to be a lot more positions, maybe 10, 20. If it's really active, it can be as high as 50 or even close to 100. So it depends, and it's the same on the Forex side as well. So today, I think I only have maybe 5 or 6 positions, maybe under 10 for Forex so far since midnight last night. So it's very unpredictable how many emails you'll get. As I said, if you got any questions, just type them up in the chat, and I can definitely cover that for you. So that is the number of email signals that are available. Now, this is something, if you do decide to sign up with the analytics service, you will need to, what I would highly recommend is to use a dedicated email for this type of service. If you're going to use a Gmail or something like that, do realize that it will delay the inbound of the email because from what I understand, Gmail is getting more and more tighter on their security checks as the emails come in. So it will be delayed. So I use my own domain of quantlabs.net as an email. That's how I'm able to get them faster, and I put no filters for spam on them. So be aware of that. But I would strongly recommend you use a dedicated email for this so you can get the email signal as fast as possible. When you do sign up, you can change the email at will. So that's a no-brainer there. Now, also, if it gets too much for you, either through the crypto or forex, you can toggle on either or for your signaling. So when you receive a signal, you can turn it on and off by going to this website when you join the service, the analytics service. One thing I forgot to mention, when you join the service, you have to let me know you want the emails sent, and then I have to manually set up your account to start receiving them. Because right now I have a very few number because it's still in test. Like as an example, last week you could have gotten 300, 400, 500 emails over Wednesday, Thursday. There was like hundreds of emails while I was testing the service. So be aware of that. But once we go live, it should start working, and I'm hoping to go live really soon as I get more comfortable with this strategy. And once I get the other strategy working, the pair trading or mean reversion strategy for Forex, I'll make that live as well. And then I'll be able to distinguish between the different types of strategies here. Like I said, this is a momentum based, and the other one would be the pair trading or arbitrage strategy as well. So I think that's pretty well all the fun stuff I got to present. Let me, I'll be able to unmute whoever wants to be unmuted. If you got questions, let me know, man. I'll unmute you, Mr. HFT PC. Go ahead.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah, you probably got lots of questions. Go ahead, man.
I have a lot of questions. No.
Go ahead.
No, I'm fine. I'm
Oh,
just
you have no questions. Okay, maybe I answered them already. Okay, so any other questions at all? If there's nothing on this, right now it's active, and it's kind of ready to go. I'll know in the next day or so. Probably by Monday. I'm hoping I'll have a pretty comfortable feeling about all this, as well as I'm like I said, I'm working on the reports right now for the track record. So if you go to my website, you'll know I have a track record section on the website. If you go under anywhere on the site, you'll see I have track records. So you'll be able to get those downloads here. But right now, I found a few bugs, so I'm cleaning them up right now. So every day you'll get a trading track record for the profit and loss for each day for both the crypto and forex momentum strategies. So they'll be available publicly. And the other thing is with crypto, it trades 7 days a week, so there'll be one every day, as well as the forex will be generated Saturday and Sunday, but it will be just using the Friday's activity for there. So any other questions so far? Anybody? If not, I can definitely tear down this session. Anybody got any questions just on trading or the services or anything algorithmic trading at all? Anything for you, HFTPC?
well, mine is mostly proprietary to what I'm doing.
Oh, I see. Right.
Right. That's why I want to ask it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. No problem there. So we'll set that up with you. I can email you back in the next couple of minutes once we get off this. Yeah. And the other thing is, like this has kind of been designed in with the Python course. It's been purposely designed with this course in mind. So let me just go over to the GitHub. That might be cool. So if you go to the GitHub repository, there's this repository called here Algo Trading Signal with Email. So in there, you can download any of these Python scripts that I've provided. Obviously, they're open source. I've got lots of video tutorials on the code walkthroughs of these. So just so you know, I provide some examples on how to receive emails if you're using, if you're going to receive the email via Python for the crypto. I've provided a market order sample for crypto for the Kraken, and how to receive the emails as well for both crypto and combine crypto and forex in one script. So there's all kinds of examples there, and I provide all the videos and what they are. So yeah, I'll put that in the chat. So yeah, I'll put this available in the chat right now if you want to copy that. So I provided all that in the last week for 2 scripts, as well as a few others a few months ago. So anybody else got any questions at all? As I said, if you are interested in the service, you are good, Mr. HFT PC. But for anybody else, come into the store and just choose the Quant Analytics membership. And then that will get you all signed up. And just subscribe now. Anything else? Yeah, and also if you go under the same store, as I said, I mentioned the Python course if you're interested. You'll be able to get that here. Okay. My mouse works properly. Yeah, so that course enables you to design and implement your own custom bot for crypto, 100% in Python, as well as I have another module under here for forex, but that's using forex with Python. So the expert advisor is totally different. And I'll be doing a webinar on that specifically on how to use it and whatnot, because it's not complicated, but as I said, you need Outlook for Windows, and the add-in plus the Python script, which is one of these, which is really this one right here. Receive signal crypto FX Python. As I said, I've got code walkthroughs on how to do how this works. So I have that available on my blog. Any other questions at all? It sounds like you have nothing to ask any further, Mr. HFT. I'm not sure if Bjorn, I'll mute Bjorn if he has any questions. You all good, Bjorn? You don't have to say anything, but if you got any questions, just let me know. I'll do it going once, twice, 3 times. And
okay. I have one that probably could help.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, conditional statement, using this signal, could we use both, the one that gets to show you the percentage, and this with the dollar and a crypto or a Bitcoin? So not just going based on one, you're going based on 2 signals technically?
Well, there's an entry and an exit, so they're 2 separate signals.
But shouldn't they kind of almost be, if, like, the one that you showed me, the one that's actually showing you go long, go short, you said go 67%. You remember that? The Python script that wasn't all in there?
Oh, are you talking about the order book?
Right.
Yeah, the order book, as part of the entry conditions, it does consider the order book. So it will not take any entries unless the bid versus ask ratio is more than, was it 60%? But do understand, I have to keep adjusting that based upon the market conditions, because if I have it too high, you won't get enough signals. So you have to kind of play with that based upon the market regime you're in right now. So I'm always changing that. So right now it's still, it might not be 60%, but it may be 55% or something. So I'm always changing that, because if I have it too high, I'm not going to get any signals.
Right. But I'm saying use both. Why not use one and do an and in your if statement, let's say?
Well, so, I do provide the file of the actual bid and asks, spreads, all that, a text file within the analytics membership. I do provide that, but I'm going to be honest, most people do not care about that stuff. But
really?
Yeah. Oh, they just want the signal. They just want the signal when they go in. That's it. I can provide that as a separate signal. You want me to do that?
Right. I can use that in CCXT, correct?
Okay, hold on. So are you talking crypto or forex?
I'm not dealing with forex, just crypto.
Okay, so if you're dealing with CCXT, yes, you can get order book info through CCXT using Kraken.
Okay, I haven't really looked at CCXT yet.
Right. I mean, CCXT is a lot, and I think, you were part of the other, it was last week or a week before, where we compared all the different crypto exchanges. And then you, basically, from what I'm seeing, Kraken's the best one right now, but do also understand that Binance for US is going to get launched fairly soon.
Right, when we mentioned that.
Yeah,
right.
so that may be a factor down the line where I may go, okay, I have a Coinbase bot, I have a crypto bot, Kraken bot, and I have one for Binance Asia, or worldwide we'll call it, but not the US, but then have one specific for the US with Binance. My issue with Binance, because it's 100% crypto, so from what I've been told, and I can confirm this theory, in the world of crypto, and you're using a momentum-based strategy, in order to remove as much volatility between the pair that you're trying to potentially trade, you have to pretty well ensure that your stable coin or your base coin is really a fiat currency, namely US dollar. So all the pairs that I trade in Kraken, all of them, there's 18 of them that will be in US dollar. That's just to remove like 50% of the volatility.
Right.
Because I've tried to trade momentum strategies with a pair in either Bitcoin or Ethereum. It's virtually I won't say impossible, but it's very hard to trade. But once I moved over to Kraken and trading everything in US dollar, my life got 50% easier, roughly.
I got you. Okay.
Okay? Because that probably would save you at least 6 months of dread.
Okay.
So that's why I'm with crypto. But with Binance US, I don't think it'll be much difference because you're always going to be trading in crypto. And
All right.
the crypto, if it's between the pair, one or the other can go, the volatility can go so crazy, it would go against you so quickly. So it's better just to work with one crypto pair and have the other one in US dollar with the fiat currency. Makes life a lot easier.
Yes.
So I'm hoping to add in a few months the shorting, because the real money in crypto right now is in the shorting side. I've got a guy who's done extremely well. I'm going, how do you do well? And he goes, well, I'm shorting it. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, if you're shorting Bitcoin where it was at 12, 13,000, comes down to 10 grand, I mean, you're doing all right. You would have made quite a bit of money in the last week because it's been dropping, or specifically in Litecoin as well.
Well, so you just mentioned something about short. I thought you said it was kind of risky shorting it.
Well, I can't say it is. Like I would not short. Like, let's say it's momentum based, but shorting. I would not trade. Like with momentum. One of the reasons why I like Fibonacci levels. If let me just pull up a chart here, just to give you an idea. Okay, so if I look up a Fibonacci chart. Okay, so let me just see. Okay, so we have what we call. Oh, sorry. We want images, not videos. All right. So if I pull up a Fibonacci level, so let's say I use this one. Okay. The reason I like using Fibonacci levels, obviously for support and resistance, the simplest way. The reason I like them is it doesn't have the exact level. Okay, so it does have the levels I'm looking for. So we have level 382, and in here, imagine you had a level 500 and the level 618. With me so far?
I'm with you.
Okay, so let's say you have a price down here at 382. And it moves up to, let's say, 382 here. And then it moves up to the 500. If there's not enough momentum to push up the price to 618, I'm not going to go into entry. Why? Because chances are this is what's going to happen, just right here. Usually it'll push up and then it'll come back off from the level 500. So the strategy will wait it out until it hits the 618, because it's been sort of verified that there's enough momentum to make the entry, but it can still drop below the 618, so you could have losses. Okay, that's just the nature of crypto. Okay, I mean, same with forex. It's just depending upon your time frame, you're still going to have some form of volatility that can work against you. So one of the things that I have that I measure in my strategy and the momentum is to look for whipsaws. Namely, this is a good example actually. So you can see here, there's a 618. Okay, moves on up. Usually, from what I've seen, it will hit the 782. So there'd be another level in here, the 782. So it will exit, or what I call the first leg of profit at 782.
Okay.
So sometimes it may not hit. But what will happen is if it does drop against here, against your entry, it'll at some point it'll just try to get out of the position as fast as possible to minimize the loss. So in the price action, as the strategy or the price action moves up, what we need to measure is before these moves up. I don't know what the time frame is. This is daily, but it doesn't matter if it's 5 minute, 15 minute, whatever, or even minute. What the thing's looking for is looking for these potential really down drawdowns or whipsaws, and it will measure over a certain period of time to ensure that there's a steady flow of up moves, and it's combining that with the 618 entry before it will take a position. So if there's enough momentum before it hits that 618 and there's not a lot of whipsaws, it will take the position. But before it takes a position, it's still going to measure these drawdowns or whipsaws. Because if there's too many whipsaws before it takes a position, chances are it's gonna go against you, because that means that the coin or the pair is so volatile that if there's enough whipsaws before you take the entry, chances are it's a probability game. Probability says you will have a losing position, so you don't want to take the trade at the 618 level if there's too many whipsaws before a certain point. You with me so far?
I'm with you.
Okay, because it's really important to know that. A lot of people, like when it comes to forex and crypto, the volatility and the whipsaws are absolutely crazy. So it doesn't trade a lot because of that. It waits for a certain level before it hits the 500, and if there's enough momentum to push it up to the 618, it will enter in the market. But at the same time, it's checking whipsaws. And it's checking for whipsaws over a certain amount of minutes, over a certain amount of hours. If there's too many whipsaws, it won't take the trade. Because as I said, chances are, with probability, it will go against you. So it won't take the trade. Okay? But from what I've been testing for, let's say, the last year, and this can be applied to any asset class, okay? Any instrument. If the trend's working in your favor, chances are you'll have a profitable position. But chances are you're probably going to have a 50% chance where you will have profit. And no matter what time frame, no matter what the market condition is, you'll always have to deal with these whipsaws. And you could still have a high probability of a losing position. Even though you think it could win, you could still have a losing position. And from what I'm seeing, unless there's solid momentum with, let's say, Bitcoin, you won't get a high probability of profit. So you have to factor that in. And one of the safest ways to do that is check for these whipsaws. Okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah, because that's the hard part, because it's easy to take positions, but it's no good taking a position if you know that there's a history over a certain amount of time before that position is taken, that there's whipsaws that will go against you. Because if there are, chances are it'll happen again. So you're waiting for a good set of bars, whatever the time frame is, that you have that positive green bar, positive momentum. And you want to have as few whipsaws as possible. And no matter what you try to trade, you're going to be dealing with this. It's just a fact of life. You can't avoid it. And the safest way to do it is, well, just check for the whipsaws and make sure that there's not enough where the probability says, yeah, you'll have another one that'll go against you when you do take on a position. Does that help you out?
That helps me out.
Okay, cool. Any other questions at all?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Anything from Bjorn? I guess not. So if not, like I said, I'm going to do another one. I'll probably temporarily stay potentially on Thursday, if that's okay, because the next one I want to do is on the expert advisor for MetaTrader, and I may be able to do a demo on my Windows system, and maybe watch hopefully some live trades. But I got to make sure that the EA works as it's supposed to, and there's no bugs before I put it out there and let people get it. And that works in conjunction when you get the signal email with an entry for the forex. I know that doesn't really affect you, Mr. HFT.
Yeah.
I guess that's pretty well it. Anything else? Anything else you'd like to ask at all?
Yeah, that's what that's now. Regarding the whipsaws, this is why I was saying if you use the order book and your signals, you probably most like I would think that you could avoid it.
You would think so. You would think so. I'm going to show you something that is really in the last, I'll say, discovered in the last week. Let's put it this way. It's an insurance that will theoretically work in your favor. But if I go over to Euro, Australia, dollar.
Okay.
Actually, let me pull up a live example. Now, I know what. Can I do this on I don't think I can do this on the crypto because it's not set up. But I can definitely do it in the world of forex. And as I said, it's the same thing anyways. Oh, hang on. Actually, just give me a second here. I could probably figure it out. I'm going to do this live. I'm just looking for a file right now. Okay, yeah, I can do this. Okay, so I'm going to do the crypto instead because I think you're more interested in that. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think I can do it. I'm just trying to think. I'm gonna just try something on my other system here. Just give me a second here. I'm gonna load up Crypto Watch, see what the good old Crypto Watch has. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, so I'm gonna go over to Crypto Watch instead, and this again is software that is owned by Kraken. So in here, what you'll get is, let's say Bitcoin would be a good one to work with. You can see that, no problem?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So here's the deal. If you go to CoinMarketCap, you either get the change in 24-hour or 1 hour. But here, this is what you're asking about, is the liquid bid and the liquid ask. So theoretically, what you're asking about, if there's more asks than bids, then chances are there's going to be a drive of the price up, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if we know that's the case, then we could say there's a shorting opportunity with Bitcoin right now because the bids are higher than the asks. And you can see here on the 1 minute change. Actually, it's a 1 month change. So they don't give you the minute. But chances are, let me just see here.
Yeah, could you actually get the level 2 yourself for the Bitcoin?
Yeah, well, through the exchange you can. Yeah, through yeah, you can.
Yeah, we're using the US dollar fiat against it, so that's another.
Yeah, and chances are when you see it says symbol BTC, EOS, and Ethereum, that's to be assumed that it is against the US dollar.
Okay.
Okay, so we're like with what I put out there signal wise, and what you see here, we're in sync here. Okay.
Gotcha.
So, these are the 18 pairs. They just added a few pairs. There's Wave. They just added Icon last night, which really doesn't mean a lot because it might not perform at all. But right now, yeah. So you can see that there should be liquidity. Let me just see. Let me just see what my system's saying. Okay. So on my watch list, we have. There's nothing on the watch list right now, meaning there's not any opportunities right now because it sounds like that it's either too many whipsaws in the market or the asks. There's nothing that has higher asks than the bids.
Gotcha.
So I'm just looking for anything that would say that. Here, actually, we have one right here. Litecoin has 7.55. Actually, it just switched over. Did you see that where it was 755 and now the asks are higher than the bids?
Yes.
Here? And you see how fast it switches?
Uh-huh.
That's what you're up against. Because like right here, how it's oscillating between the two amounts on the ask side, you think, that means I have a signal. If it's not fast enough, you will lose when you put on that position, because again, it's that volatility you got to worry about, and that once there's too many bids, chances are the price will drop if you're watching on a sub 1 minute level. So this is the sort of thing when I say crypto is too volatile. This is the sort of thing you need to worry about, and you have to give it some time before it hits that level 618, as well as to ensure over a certain amount of time that there are no whipsaws going against you if you did take on the position. So that's just one example of what you need to worry about. Here's another example on Binance Coin. That's not available on Kraken. That's a Binance, obviously. So you can see here we have more asks than bids, but the thing is, it's not compelling. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's not compelling for me to take that. You want it to have at least a 60% ratio of asks versus bids, but that can shift to, like I said, 55%. So that's not set in stone, because that can hover between one or the other. But one thing I wanted to show you is on TradingView for the forex. This, what you just stated, you think is correct. To assume that if there's more asks than bids, that means the price will go up. This one kind of doesn't work that way, which I thought it did, and it can, is the euro against the Australian dollar. So if I pull up the history of this, okay, I don't know what broker this is, but it doesn't really matter. Let's assume this is Oanda. Okay, so the trend up until July or August, we had a steady trend up. But usually when you see this kind of drive up, that means chances are that there were more asks than bids.
Okay.
So let's say if I look at the 1 day chart or the intraday, you can see here we have a sell signal. I think this drop right here is due to what was announced in what's his name's Draghi's announcement today. So that's why there's that sudden drop.
Right.
But I am going to pull up the order book for the euro and Australian dollar in Oanda. Just give me a second here while I get to it. All right. So, okay. All right. So, just looking for the file. All right. So this gets generated every 2 minutes. So what I'm about to give you is not too far back.
Okay.
All right. Alrighty. All right. Okay, I'm looking for the file. I can see it, but I cannot. All right. Looks like my file keeps getting deleted because of my automated script deletes it, refreshes it. Let me pull up yesterday's. Let me see if I can do that. Okay. Okay. Here we are.
Yeah, I'm still here.
No, I know. And,
No.
okay, here we go. So as an example, I have here the euro Australian dollar. Total longs was 64%. Total short was 35.12%. So the ratio is 1.8.
Okay.
So you'd think that that would drive up the price. So as you can see here, that's kind of what's happening. So theoretically, that is correct, but I'm not sure. But you can probably see it's dropped off a little bit.
Yes.
And then you also have the signal for the sell.
Uh-huh.
So theoretically, yeah, you see it dropped off a little bit, even though it's 64% total long. So you think that that price would continuously drive up. So that's pretty compelling that you would think theoretically that would work. I'm not using that exclusively, but I'm just using it as another condition for an entry. So I'm using that plus the whipsaws that have the minimal amount of whipsaws and a couple of other conditions before I do take the entry.
Okay.
So another one to look at is the U.S. dollar and Swiss franc. So let me pull up here. So in this case, the U.S. dollars at U.S. dollar Swiss franc is 61% long, 38.9 short. So you think that that price would be driven up. So we have a neutral signal. Actually, no, it's now buy.
Okay.
Now there's been some really interesting activity on this pair as well. But you can see on an intraday, why is the price coming down or it's going up? It's very volatile there. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
even though,
yeah, I see that.
yeah, even though it does say that you have more longs and shorts,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty compelling for an entry. But part of the reason it's not taking the trades, you can see how the whipsaws are just pretty crazy in that price action. So if I took on a position here, chances are it'll probably get driven down, even though the signals, I'm not sure what this signal's at for what time frame, if it's at buy, but if it's at, let's say, the intraday, chances are I'd probably lose money here if I took on the position, even though the order book says, yeah, 61% long.
Could you show me the order book for the, what's that called, Bitcoin?
On Crypto Watch,
Anyone.
okay, here we go.
But it's not really showing it actions. It's like these are a little bit delayed, isn't it?
No, that's true, yeah, because it's always in the number of
Rounded off.
yeah, no, not rounded off, but it's the number of volume over how long, I'm not sure, on
Right.
Crypto Watch. But when you break it down on the API through CCXT coming out of Kraken, I use a total volume, the number of quotes.
So looking at this right now for Bitcoin, I
Yep.
would not touch that. It's
No,
too
I
close.
wouldn't touch it at all. But then,
Right.
but then, let's say, let's see the pricing action on Bitcoin and USD on Kraken. Let's see, where do we have Kraken? Kraken is in here. Oh, I remember they took out Kraken. So let's say if I use, I don't know, Coinbase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to the 1 day chart. So 1 day chart, intraday. So we have a buy. Even though you see that volatility there, but you can see there's a sudden trend along here.
Right.
But it's still, see right here, that's a trend that you want to wait it out a little bit, and then once you hit a certain trigger point, then if you know that the price is still moving up with the momentum, take the position and dump it along
Gotcha.
up here. But then if you take that position again, you would, here, and you lose money, it'll panic and dump the trade, right?
Yep.
And again, even though on TradingView, that's an entry, depending upon your time horizon when you want to hold the position, right? There's all these different factors you need to consider.
Oh, so you really actually cannot see the orders like how you could look just at a dome, correct?
Orders and meaning in what? Like
hundreds or thousands.
You mean on the order book, on the volume?
Yes, on the order book, on the volume.
You can measure it through CCXT, yeah. And then what I do is it can give you, I believe it can give it to you in dollar amount or by the number of quotes.
That would be your best bet then.
Yeah. I use a number of quotes.
Okay, so how would I get access to that information with your CCXT? There's something that's to read me, I can find it?
Yeah, you should be able to Google it. So let's say with Google, Kraken, CCXT, Kraken, order book. Right here, as an example. So it's just a matter of Googling it.
Okay, so you just import it.
Yeah.
Market. 1 minute.
So
That's 1 minute there?
Yeah. It's that good.
You can't even get it any closer than that inside a minute?
I mean on sub-second?
Yeah.
No, because if you're working on sub-second, you wouldn't be working with Python.
No.
Because Python has its limitations, and it can keep up with a minute, no problem. But once you get into sub-second, then you have to go into something like either Java or C++.
So why not just use C++ then?
It's a very complicated programming language, and the programming of it's very difficult. And plus, they probably will throttle your account as well.
They would?
Yeah, it's possible. They're not an HFT shop. You got to remember that.
Okay.
So they would look at maybe that you're trying to scalp, and they probably turn around and not ban your account, but you could be banned if you continuously scalp, because that's what you're doing.
Everything is always something. You went into a war with something, one of these.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying, like, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't look at anything less than 5 minutes. Because it's so noisy. And the volatility will throw off your signals so bad. If you look at an hourly, you can smooth out those positions pretty good. Now, if you do want to trade high frequency on crypto, you probably want to work with BitMEX. And I got a guy kind of doing that, and I will tell you, it is not fun to program. And that's all. He's doing it all in C++. So the reason I go this route, I'm going to be honest with you, is because in a situation where let's say you're working right now with Kraken, okay, and then something happens with Kraken. They're let's say with the Attorney General of New York suddenly went after Bitfinex and said that this Tether stablecoin was a scam. We're going to investigate. What are you going to do? Because if you are writing your entire infrastructure and your strategy or bot using and directly with, let's say, Bitfinex in C++, all of that time and investment will be thrown out the door because now you wonder, is this a legitimate exchange? Whereas if you are using something like CCXD, and because it's a wrapper to all the major exchanges, you can, I won't say it's like an instant switch over to another exchange, but it's a lot faster because it's a wrapper and it shields you from all that complexity. Where you put all that investment into, a good one would be like BitMEX, and they suddenly are getting investigated like a few months ago. What happens to your strategy? What happens to your time? What happens to all that code? Becomes maybe, I'm not saying it will, but it could be looked upon as being somewhat useless.
So, man, Session, you made a comment. You were saying that somebody's created an HFT with the actual cryptos, and that's between the two exchanges.
Oh, that's arbitrage. I've done a video on that.
Okay, arbitrage, yes.
Yeah, if you're a retailer type of small trader or even an
Uh-huh.
algorithm trader, and you're fairly like new to it, I wouldn't go down that path because I think I've done a video on it, and the opportunities are not very often.
Okay,
That's just, there are opportunities, but the amount of time to put into it, it's just from my perspective, is not really worth the effort.
gotcha.
I mean, the nice thing about CCXT using it and shielding you from all the complexities, working directly with the exchange's API, it shields you from all that. So when I wanted to switch from Kraken to Coinbase, I was able to rewrite the entire bot from Kraken to Coinbase in about a day. It's like trying to move from interactive brokers to another broker for stocks. That shift from the API of interactive brokers to your other new broker, that's probably months of work. Whereas using CCXT, it shortens that amount of development to transition from one exchange to another.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
All right. So now, I want to make sure I have this down. You're saying use CoinWatch, use the percentages on the analytics. That's the second one.
Yeah.
And the third one is use the actual email for your entry and exit. With those three, you should be pretty much close. Now, do these things have any morning breakouts when the market opens?
No, I've not seen any pattern to that. But I will say when like a few hours ago, let me just show you as an example. I can give you times. Okay, so today's the 12th. So I'm looking at my P&L for the crypto. I had a spurt of activity between around 1 a.m. my time,
Right.
and there was a lot. Then it waited out, and then there's another spurt of activity for about an hour today, like earlier today, between 10 and 11. And when I'm saying activity, what will happen is the overall number of, like let's say Bitcoin with all the big 5 coins, they all move in tandem. And when they do, that's your opportunity to start trading. But in terms of patterns and when that happens, it's very random. It can, like I've had it because it's 24/7 where you have no activity for 3-4 days, and then all of a sudden on a Friday night there's activity, or on a Saturday night.
Right. So just wait a minute. Now, is there any correlation with any of the coins?
Yeah, I'm seeing quite a bit between. Let me just go through them. So I have my master list, let's call it. The big 5 that I always refer to are Ethereum,
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and they all move in tandem.
You can use those too then as a.
Yeah, I do. That's what I do. I have a volume weighted average price between
Okay.
those 5, and then I create this weighted average. So then I can use the weighted average to tell me when to go into the market on crypto to start trading.
Is that something that this signal is doing anyway? I mean, just shooting myself in the.
No, no, no. For the crypto on the current signaling, I do use this weighted average to give me the condition on when to go into the market. It's one of the other conditions.
I got you.
Okay, so again, I'm using Ethereum Classic. You don't really need to use that. Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. They all move in tandem. And I do a weighted average, like a volume weighted average. Right now it's at 0.1. So that tells me it's not a good time to go into the market. It's not a good time to trade. But once all of those volumes and moves, and I'm checking every hour on this, every hour, 24/7. And once those averages move up on the price over 0.75%, and the weighted average hits 0.75%, then I go into the market and start trading, because that's another condition to say the crypto markets are good to go for trading, with hopefully fewer whipsaws that go against you. So the higher the weighted average of those 4 coins, chances are you will have much, much higher level of profit, because now all of a sudden more coins will get added to the watch list. Like I can have situations where I'm trading 18 coins in US dollar on Kraken. I could have 10 coins that all of a sudden start trading once that weighted average hits, let's say 1 or even 2. I've seen the weighted average go as high as 6. Right. And when it's that strong, it's trading like crazy, because the momentum's there for those trades, and you got a good day. Does not happen a lot. But yes, they are correlated. But then there's also some good things as well, because you can get, even though you have like a crap day with those 4 coins are not moving in your favor, chances are there's going to be the odd one that will give you an opportunity to trade.
Okay.
Like Stellar, Monero, Dash, EOS. Because they're private coins and they have no relation to Bitcoin.
Gotcha.
Okay? But remember, when your weighted average is lower, chances are it's going to be a losing trade. And that can happen too. And that's what's been going on over the last couple of weeks. Because if I just say I'm going to wait it out, when the weighted average hits, let's say 2, that could take 2 weeks or 3 weeks or maybe a month before I get that opportunity.
Gotcha.
So it's still trying to trade at a lower weighted average parameter. And what I'm hoping for in those scenarios, that there's enough Bitcoin trades that will, like if it's a big profitable Bitcoin trade, it will offset for a couple of days or even for the entire trading week. So there's some reliance in that, or dependency in that scenario. But at the same time, you can get those same Bitcoin positions that can go against you. So for instance, right now, today, it's the whole thing's been doing good until there was one trade in Bitcoin where it went $4.50 in the hole. So it's wiped out all my trades for today out of 10.
Wow.
So you do get those happening. But what you're hoping for, and this can be said for any type of trading, when you have a big instrument, like a futures, like oil as an example, or gold, where if there's bad trades, that one of those big positions will be high enough to offset all the losers. So there is that scenario you have to factor in. And because the crypto space has been pretty well trading sideways for a couple of weeks, so let me just show you the trading view on Bitcoin as an example. You'll see how the market's been for Bitcoin in the last, I'll say, month. So here's the thing. When you look at Bitcoin over the last month, let's say, as this loads up, so let's say 1 month. See how it's not really done all that well, or even 3 months? It hasn't really gone anywhere, but it's hoping to get these nice upswings that happen maybe once a week. So there is opportunity there.
Okay.
But when you factor in this kind of trade year to date, okay, when let's say you did get in at 30, 80, 97 or 4,000 and dumped at 12,000, that's your trade of the year. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course.
So whatever your losers are, hopefully that move would offset all the losers for the year. So it's the same thing when you break it down and go a little more granular at a weekly or a daily view or whatever.
Gotcha.
But the problem is once you start trading, as I said, under an hour, chances are because of the volatility, those are hard conditions to trade in, I find, at least now. But then I'm going to show you something that's going to kind of really mess you up. So if you look at Litecoin, let's say in Bitcoin, this is was my trade of the year on Binance. Between December, let's say around here, up until here, you can see this is the performance of Litecoin from 280 to, let's say, 600. So it's almost doubled over that time period.
Yes.
And that's when I was doing really well between Litecoin against, actually a better one was Litecoin and Ethereum. And this was on Binance. So if you look at Litecoin and Ethereum, this was nothing but a steady line up. Year to date, between December and about April, May. This was an awesome trade. Where are we? Okay, let me do 6 month then. So right here, it's about here, and it's actually gone up. So Litecoin and Ethereum's done quite well.
Okay.
But the other one that did well was BNB against Ethereum on Binance. That was another solid trade for the year. So these were the two pairs that did really well for me between December and May. But those trades are no longer have done that well. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you can see right here, it's done pretty good between December and April, and then the market changes and the regime changes all of a sudden. So there's always the markets change, but right now with Bitcoin, it's just trading sideways, and that could be said for all crypto coins right now. And as I said, there's the odd one in the odd day where there is some trading opportunity. Like on Sunday, XRP went up. Was it Saturday or Friday? XRP went up 4%. I caught a few of those. Yesterday, Stellar did okay. So there's these small little trading opportunities that come around, and Dash and EOS was moving today as well. So you get those that are not part of those big four coins that I mentioned: Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. So there's always opportunity. It's just with this style of trading, it can work, but it's all relative around this weighted average I talked about.
Okay. But now, you mentioned that you have a video that actually gives you the weighted average of all the different coins. So you can use it based on as a conditional statement. You remember the name of that video that you have?
Not offhand, no.
Oh.
It's kind of like a VWAP. Let me just pull it up as an example because it's not too hard. What you're doing is you're taking volume weighted average price across four coins. So the formula is pretty basic.
Okay.
And you're using a percentage, which obviously Bitcoin is the biggest. That will kind of skew everything else.
Right.
Based upon the volume of Bitcoin versus the other four. So that's why it's all correlated around Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin is moving, chances are the other ones move as well. And I mean, right now, as an example, the moves are very, very small. Like maybe, I'll give you the real time right now. These are, again, hourly moves. Bitcoin is up 0.06%, but everything else is negative.
How could that be? If they
Well, that's the hourly moves of. So, as an example, Bitcoin Cash is down negative 0.02%. Litecoin's down 0.51%.
okay,
Bitcoin's up 0.06%, and Ethereum's down 0.13%. But meanwhile, my weighted average is down negative 0.24. So that means then it's not going to trade. It's not going to trade until it hits 0.75.
so if you was in my shoes, would just go and do the future script with Motive Wave, or just drop this and stay in this Bitcoin.
Yeah, the thing though is you can't trade crypto in Motive Wave right now.
No, I know that. I'm saying go with Motive Wave in futures.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I've talked. Yeah. I would definitely do that.
I mean, I don't know. I think this thing about having all these coins that possibly the max I'm looking for is no more than about 3% a day, but it doesn't seem like it's it can short it. So
Well, you could, but the problem right now, and again today, in a month, a week, you could start getting a market that's trending a certain direction, and you can make consistent profit. But right now, because everything's trading sideways, to be able to say I'm going to get 3% a day,
it's impossible.
Yeah. Statistically, it's impossible. I would be focusing to be happy with something at 0.5% or 1%, a lot more conservative, because statistically, it's very difficult to say, yeah, I'll make 3%. I mean, between December and April, it was a totally different type of market.
Right.
And if you find patterns where things are moving up, then yeah, you could say that. But for example, if I look at BNB right now, you can see right here, this is a good move. You can see it moves up, and then all of a sudden it goes into a decline. So if you are dependent upon BNB between August and this period here to get your 2-3% a day, and then all of a sudden that coin starts to drop off, there goes your guaranteed way of making 2-3%. And then you hit this period again, starting late July, and then you can maybe get a short amount of time when the market regime says, yes, you can use BNB Ethereum to get your 3% again. So you see what I'm saying? It's very hard to say you'll get 2%, 1%, or whatever over a certain amount of time if you're dependent upon one pair that guarantees you that change.
Oh no! I'm a designer supposed to do multiple pairs. I'm not going to just use one.
Yeah. But the problem is, as I said, the market right now is sideways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult to say, yeah, I'll get X amount of percent. Because I was hoping to say that back in the day, up until May, and I was able to do that. But I mean, again, when you look at, let's say, this kind of move of where Bitcoin moved between, what was it, March till June, and it moves from 4,000. Let me just see here. I got my charts are messed up here. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at stocks or something.
I'm glad we had this meeting, because I would have invested all this time and money into this, and it wouldn't yield much.
Well, you could. Just depends upon your timing, really. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that guarantees you anything is probably lying to you.
Well, I didn't say that.
No, I know, but if anybody says that you can do it, I think statistically it's very tough, especially when the markets go sideways like it has. See here, between March and June, chances are you could have made 3% a day.
Right.
Very, very easily. But look where we are now. Since June 25th, Bitcoin's barely moved. So if you're trading just Bitcoin, how can you sit there and all of a sudden say, I'm making 3% a day?
I
Yeah,
gotcha.
the market regime allows it between March and June. Yeah, but after June 25th, when it peaks, are you going to be able to say I'm going to get 3% a day? Probably
No,
not.
no, no.
You know.
All right. So I got to go through the motorway stuff then. That's all.
Well, it depends what you're trying to trade. Like right now, I bet you if you looked at gold, which is the big one, let's say spot gold, or let's say
That
the
is it.
gold was
It have a lot of. It does not have a lot of volatility.
what's that?
No, it doesn't have a lot of volatility.
No, no, but look, like again, you see that big pattern on these big
Yeah,
moves.
see it. Yeah, see it.
Yeah, that's an easy trade. Like that's a given,
Right.
right? And if you were to say, let's say, trade in Motive Wave, and you had an account for a futures broker and a crypto broker, all you would have to do is just trade gold between May and a couple of weeks back or a week ago. You could have made cash there as one pattern, and then the other one for Bitcoin against US dollar. You would have made good money just on those two trades.
Okay. Now make sure I have this right. Now I can't use. Can I use Motive Wave with IB?
Yeah, you can.
I can. Now I will get the actual data feed from IB. Correct.
You'll get real time data, but you will not get historical data.
Okay. I'll get that from them and use Motive Wave as my signal, pretty much.
Yeah, your
Yes.
platform. Yeah.
All right. When I get to that point, then I'm gonna ask you any other conditions I could use to help me factor a decision.
Yeah, and then you know what? By the time you've got something, chances are there's going to be another instrument out there that will do really well, like gold and Bitcoin this year. That'll move like that.
Okay.
Could be oil. It could be a currency. Who knows?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing. These are some of the options in futures was gold, silver ratio,
Yeah,
oil, and natural gas ratios.
yeah,
Well, let's see what happens. But I'll definitely by next week. I have Motive Wave out of the way and just study it.
yeah, yeah. Like if you looked at U.S. Yeah, 10 year,
Mm-hmm.
like this is another gimme. This trade here. Now, if you can trade, see here, like between May and June,
Right.
but if you could find it like an ETF or something that you could trade that, these little patterns mean a lot. And part of what I do is I have a CFD I watch through Oanda.
Uh huh.
But as an American, you're not allowed to trade CFDs. But those CFDs can be still fairly valuable.
Right.
So if you want to hold on, I can give you as an example from today.
Can you give me a second? I need to step away for a second.
Yeah, sure. Let's see here.
Okay, I'm back.
Hello.
You all right?
I'm just pulled up my reports for the CFDs.
Uh huh.
and these can be used to know what to go into with the with let's say futures market. So
Right.
right now, number one, I was surprised by this, was the Euro 50 Euro. Yeah, here. So this was number one, I believe. Yeah, this is a WAN. This is a CFD one I'm about to show you. So this report showed me that. So this report shows me. You can see there's like, so this is the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it's been steadily been a nice uptrend, but recently it's been doing really good.
Right.
And you would think that with all the news coming out of Europe, it'd be no good. But you can clearly see that this is a nice uptrend. And if we know, let's say between here, December, up until here, you're going from roughly 3,000 all the way up to 35, whatever. So it's roughly 12% move.
Right.
And here, it's at 3309 up to 3600. So in a short span of, let's say, 2 weeks, you got a 10% move here, right? So if you use the CFDs or this sort of methodology I'm using, you can see some neat patterns. Right? Like another one as an example, USB 30 year in US dollar again. Let me see if I can find that. Okay, so it's USB 30 year T-bond. Again, that's another CFD from Awanda. So this is the second best. So if you follow these CFDs, you can look at that. That's a nice move. That's like Bitcoin, right? So from 137 to 160, it's not. I mean, considering the market's been not too good, that's a 10-12% move.
Right.
Over the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing now as one way to measure, just basically on simple trend.
Mm-hmm.
That's for if you want to do CFDs or futures. I'm just looking for another one here, just as an example.
Well, keep it in mind. I'm going to do the crypto anyway. I'm just going to leave it sitting out.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get this what's name out the way. This futures thing.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is you could do this easily on MotiveWave. Like if you got a MotiveWave account, sorry, MotiveWave, you open an Awanda account and you just use the CFDs with Awanda. Obviously, being in the States, you can't trade it, but you can still. I think you should still be able to watch it.
Right.
And then look for the trends. And then once you know that you have certain trends, you can turn around and trade those as an option or a futures.
I got you.
That's just it's just based on simple trades.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many of these. Like I think there's like at least 5, maybe 10.
Okay.
Of these moves that you can watch if you're going to do the futures and options.
I got you.
And just do a daily analysis on these things, and just watch it on a daily time frame. Here's another one that's surprising. I was kind of surprised by this. France 40. So just as an example here, and this one did all right too.
Mm-hmm.
Just based on trend, that's all. So got a nice move here to here. So we're looking at 4,600 to 5,600. So that's, again, 10-15%.
Right.
Not bad.
Yeah, I gotta go over this. What's name? It's gonna take me maybe a day or so to go through it.
Yeah, I'm just showing you other areas that I'm gonna start looking at, but just from a simplistic point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just something else I'm very interested in doing, and you can do that through an ETF as well, right?
Right. Now you said with the MotiveWave, The count is how much per month?
The
I mean,
account
just one instrument, not multiple.
You mean the cost of Motorwave, the platform?
Right.
Depends on the edition, but you pay. Let's say the Ultra is 1,500 plus. That's all you pay for the first year, includes your support, and from there, let me just check it out. I think it was $200-300 for yearly support, and there's support.
Okay, so it was cheaper. You have little accounts that you have to have the.
No, yeah. It depends upon what edition you want. I'm just basing it upon the Ultimate, right?
Okay, right.
Right. So, like, you could still access the SDK for the Java. Let me just see here. All products. I just think that this thing, once I get it rolling outside of the forex and crypto, this will be my next step. So if I'm going to start doing futures and options, this is definitely I'm going to look at. So right here, if you do the ultimate, like I said, 1,600,
right?
Plus the, I mean, that might be a little too much depending upon your needs. Like you could just probably get away with the Charts Plus, $200.
Well, honestly, I prefer. I gotta take a look at it. Charts Plus, yeah, it looks. I prefer just using numbers than using Charts Plus.
The thing is, for $300, you get the basic package. But once you start getting into these other editions here, like the Strategy, Professional, Ultimate, you start getting all of these other extra indicators. So you get Fibonacci, commentary markers. I mean, Elliott Wave, Gartley, Gann. Like those are really tough to program, and if that's your style of trading, you can buy those separately if you want it.
Right.
Or if you're really lazy and you just want to get an out of box strategy, you can just do this edition here, the strategy, and you get your studies and your strategies with that edition.
Oh, it gives you the strategy.
Yeah,
oh,
dude, it's powerful, man.
That may be one I might go with then.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. If you go with the ultimate or professional, you get everything. You get the strategies, right? All the kit and caboodle. Plus, you get all of these other things, like to do the Gartley, which is the harmonics, and the Elliott. Like that's very advanced stuff, and that's out of box.
Right.
So
I think I'm gonna go. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with the strategy. I'm just gonna get the strategy. I'm just gonna study it a little bit. Strategy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. This is going in Windows because this is not a Linux or Unix environment you can run it in.
Not yet. I know that they're working on it.
Now, I just have one more question. I was watching one of your videos and you were saying that with prop firms,
they
actually change when you're sending the order in, or they're playing around with your strategy.
They can.
The prop firms, they can,
or they can rip you off, because I've actually talked to guys that because you got to remember, when you're using their platform, like, which is typically a software program called Sterling. And what they do is they'll provide you the client edition, and then they'll have the server edition. So they're recording all your all the things that you're doing. So they'll hire other people behind the scenes that will try to reverse engineer your strategy.
Oh shit!
And then they'll steal it. And I'm not saying all prop firms do it, but that's why prop firms have these bad reputations. And I've actually talked to two guys that was their job, was to try to reverse engineer all the winning strategies.
Damn.
You got to be very careful with prop firms, dude. I mean, if you
I never touched it. I heard about that a long time ago.
Yeah, because I mean, it's cheap. You could spend a couple $100 a month for the trading desk and the software, and they provide you the cash, which is fine. But if you've got a winning strategy and you're very secretive on that, you don't want to go with a prop firm. Because they will rip you off. I mean, they don't have a very good reputation. So to get out of everything out of the box, that's why I like Motorwave. Because it encompasses so much.
And what do you think is their win ratio on their one that gives you out of the box strategy?
That's hard to say. I mean, I know that they have a forum. So I've never gone through the forum to kind of get a feel of what people are doing. But I'm sure there's going to be some people on the forum on Motive Wave that will talk about. So here's a community forum. This is brand new. So there might be some people talking about certain strategies. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you go through this, you may be able to find people that have certain, success stories. So it's pretty good to have them provide this.
Yeah, but honestly, my thing this is what I'm thinking about doing. I was just only going to do it for maybe 3 minutes in the morning breakout for each part of the country around the world. So you have Australia, you have Sydney, you have the Asian market, you have the European market 3 in the morning.
You're right.
Only that 3-4 minutes and I'm out. Within the 24-hour period, that should generate a little bit above 3%.
What are you focusing on, futures or stock?
Futures.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that do that. Yeah, I mean, and they do trade in those opening and closing hours.
Right. Now you're using this strategy, and it's telling you which way this is going, because it's kind of, for my studies, it's kind of a little difficult at that time when the breakout to try to play. They could still play with it, but
yeah,
but I'm using multiple things as conditions. I have a very good chance.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I do know on Bloomberg, they always talk about the call put ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's no different than the order book for crypto or forex. So, this is one of those things that they use for direction on the market.
Right.
So, call put, technical indicator, investor sentiment. But there's so many of these, you know?
Gotcha.
So, I can't say what works and what doesn't work, but that's just one of the indicators that I've heard about on Bloomberg. But the thing is that I'd be kind of interested to trade a strategy around calendar events.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Very good for forex. I would agree.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting the call right or wrong.
Right.
Because, as an example, like where the Swiss National Bank depegged from the euro a few years ago, the markets went crazy.
Right.
And it went crazy for about 12 hours. And there was like 15% moves on certain pairs that were basically gimmies. And if you added up like max leverage, you probably would have walked away buying a Porsche or a Ferrari at the end of the day because there were so many of these opportunities.
Right.
But the funny thing is when you trade like with what I've got, like at Forex, like if there's an announcement with, let's say, a Trump event, when I was playing around with Duca's copy, there was an event where Trump said something, the markets went crazy, and my system actually caught it. And there was about 5 or 6 pairs that it was trading or could have traded, and that opportunity alone with the U.S. dollar, it affected about 6 pairs, and it was a massive trade. So if you code up your strategy where it's just kind of like scanning all the different instruments out there, and you get a news announcement like that, it could hugely affect the market. I'm trying to think of one today. I think it was it was where the trade war where Trump acquiesced, said we're gonna go after an interim agreement with China. Something moved. I know it was the U.S. dollar, and something moved positive right on the bat. Actually, the markets moved as well. You know what I mean? Based upon that one news event. So if you design your system to be able to scan the markets for those sort of things that can happen, which you can't really predict, you can multiply your opportunity by quite a bit, especially in the currency space.
Got you.
You know, so I mean, I've seen instances where if you get a major news event, some kind of calamity, it can affect pretty well. Like I said, 5 or 6 pairs, and that affects it for a while, and that's just a predictable trade. But times 6, and then add in your leverage, it's like, wow,
Yeah, the French election, remember that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I understand. You're right. In the employment numbers is another big one.
yeah,
The farm, the farm,
yeah.
farm
Farm
report
payroll,
when it comes
non-farm
out.
payroll. Yep.
You know, about every Wednesday they come up with the oil report at 10:30.
Yeah, the COT, Commitment of Trader Report.
Right, and I just read something today. They were saying natural gas the prices are going to fall.
Possibly.
Right, so there's a lot of things going on.
Yo, I
I mean,
remember. Here's an example. So I just looked up my reports. Check out soybean. So if you looked at soybean futures,
mm-hmm.
or let me just pull up an ETF, might be better. Soybean USD, the spot market.
It was down.
Right, but guess what? It went up. Why? Because of that agreement, that announcement, it moved up quite a bit.
Oh, right. I got you. I see, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that means now soybean price goes up because China says they're going to buy U.S. soybean. So as a result, soybean goes up.
Let me ask you this question. With soybean, what's the other one? Soybean, you got
wheat, corn,
grain, wheat, all that stuff.
Yeah.
When did they actually come up with a report for all those different, what's the word for that?
For like the supply and demand on harvesting and all that?
Right. When did that come out? Because I tried to look it up one time. I was unsuccessful.
I know the brokers have it. IQ Feed has it. So let's say soybean calendar. I'm going to assume calendar announcements. Usually, let's see. I just saw something for CME. So if you're on the CME, I guess that's where the majority of soybean gets traded.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So soybean futures calendar. They should give you exactly who, what, why, and where.
Oh, you just pop it right there and bam,
right,
you got
right, it. Yeah. So you got your reports on.
Yeah, but that's showing the time that it comes out.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to make sure you get the call right.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but you don't like oil is at 10:30 every Wednesday.
Okay.
What is the time this is going to occur? Just at midnight at that time on the 12th, 13th, 14th?
I'm not sure. That I'm not sure.
If
I download data, it might have something in here. Let me just see here. I'll open it up.
Yeah, with futures, that's the big thing.
Oh, yeah. Especially a major commodity. But again, you got to make sure you get the call right?
Mm-hmm. True.
You know? And just see if there's a time in here. No, it doesn't look like it gives you just the date. You probably got to get access to the actual data because they'll probably delay it for sure on purpose because you're not signing up for it. But you could probably get it through IQ Feed, that's for sure.
Okay, but I won't be using IQ Feed with what I'm about to do.
Yeah. Like the cool thing about crypto and just playing around with crypto, it gets you the skills you need to really understand the nuances of whipsaws and all the basic technical indicators. You know what I mean? Because if you're using something like an out-of-box platform, like let's say MotiveWave, that's all fine and good, but you're still not understanding the really nitty-gritty of why that price moves or why the whipsaw happens. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Or how to be able to counteract it instead of just relying on some indicator.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of the indicators can be wrong. Like I said, like the order book for the euro, Australia dollar, you think works, but then I could show you instances of where, the bid and ask is high, or there's more asks in the bids, but the price will still drop, and there's really no explanation for it.
All right, so I'm going to move that direction. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, no problem, man.
Hope I've been beating you. The other guy who's on the conference, he's like, my God, we're going at this thing pretty hard.
No, he might be just sitting wanting to learn.
Oh, okay.
I get a lot of those guys.
All right, so I got I'm gonna do the research on Motive Wave and the Strategy Edition. I'll just get that. Now,
Yeah.
it is it Python that you can do?
No, it's
Oh,
Java.
okay. It is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, thank you very much, and I really
No problem,
appreciate
man.
it. You here? I mean, have any? I don't think I'm gonna have any questions. They're giving me the strategy, so I shouldn't have any questions with doing that. With setting it up with IB, which they use Java and they API.
Yeah, yeah,
I
but
should
you're
have
not.
right.
But remember, you're not working. If you choose Motive Wave, you're not using the Interactive Brokers API. You're using the software development kit in Motive Wave. Motive Wave shields you from on the APIs of all the
Yeah, but,
different brokers and providers.
yeah, but how do I? So now I got to push the orders through IB.
Yeah, but you're using Motive Wave to do that. So if you have a
Oh, okay,
strategy, let's say on Canon trading for futures,
right.
and you have a SDK using the platform, the MotiveWave platform, that SDK, and you code up your entire strategy using the MotiveWave SDK, and to move from Interactive Brokers to Canon trading or another broker, that shift is really easy because all you're doing is just changing out your I guess your adapter, you could call it, your connector to the other broker. But the core of the strategy stays the same because
Gotcha,
you're still using the same API because it's MotiveWave.
gotcha. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's the same with CCXT if you decide to move from one exchange to the other in the crypto space.
I'm definitely going to do the crypto thing. I'm just going to do this first and go that, and then do the forex. I got to get one of these going, but I want to do Motive Wave. I didn't realize is that I did not look at it the went talked. I just went stroke totally at crypto.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to
Well,
do now is
I,
I'm going to start working on
I will
this. It's
tell
a lot
you,
of good.
if once they offer a version that will trade in crypto, man, that's all you need.
If that happens,
I think it will. It's not as easy as it sounds, but I'm not sure how that's prioritized. But Bjorn asked a question about API. Is it REST, the protocol? Yeah, a lot of these like Python, the Awanda, that's REST, but it's using a Python wrapper.
right?
CCXT is usually there's three versions of CCXT: JavaScript, Python, and PHP. But
Okay,
it's all based off of, but it's a wrapper to their REST API, whatever the crypto exchange is. So it is REST,
right.
but I hate REST. But yet, if you can use a Python wrapper to the REST protocol, it makes life a lot easier.
All right. So now this is my last question. What will be the advantage of getting the professional, the ultimate for Motive Wave?
Well, it obviously gets you everything. It gets you.
Oh, okay. I got you. Now I
It's the
understand. Okay.
Cadillac of everything.
I'll probably do it down the line.
But you can always upgrade to it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also get the strategy if that's all you're going to develop.
Right.
Yeah, just work with a strategy edition. That's maybe all you need.
Yeah, what I'm going to go with is just, like I said, is those market openings around the world. So when I first start.
Yep.
That's it. And then once I get more comfortable with it, I'll start advancing more into, well, the market openings and the actual events. Those are the two that you know they're going to have some volatility.
Right.
Okay.
And have you decided what broker you're going to go with?
I want to go with IB.
Or you're doing IB? Okay. Yeah.
Does Canon have better support than IB? Because IB don't have the greatest support.
No, that's the big complaint about IB. Yeah, as far as I know, both Canon and what was the other one? Advantage. Yeah, they're apparently very good.
I may go with one of those then.
But remember what we talked about with that tax situation? If you decide to move, you'll be bound only to the U.S. because both those brokers are U.S. based.
Got you.
Whereas Interactive Brokers, let's say you want to decide to move to Singapore, be tax free or close to tax free, or Dubai, even a better example. You just swap out, get a new Interactive Brokers account in Dubai, same code, everything's the same, no changes.
Well, I don't think that's going to be happening no time soon.
Yeah. Well, that's when you do really well.
Right.
But that's something that I would consider with interactive brokers. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but the big complaint I get from people is interactive brokers kind of the support is. I mean, it blows, but their position is interactive brokers is that they expect you to be an advanced trader. They don't like. I mean, they don't mind dealing with newbies, but that TWS it's very archaic.
Got you.
And that's why they prefer people to do the API. But on the other hand, they do have a pretty good Yahoo group for developers.
Okay.
So, but going with interactive brokers is fine for. But futures is a big one. I mean, are you just going to focus only on a couple of instruments?
No, I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do most of the different countries. Um, and then from there, I'm going to do the most of them on their breakouts when their markets open.
Yeah.
And just do news. That pretty much should be very good.
Yeah.
I should be doing well at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have the Nikkei.
Right.
I'm going to do the Euros. I'm going to do the US, Australia, Sydney, and United States open at 9:30. The Canadian,
Yeah.
and that's it. And just cut it off right there.
Okay.
Because think about it, at 10:30, when that oil report comes out, is going to affect that their e-mini to us with Canada.
Right.
Right. That's why I was just looking that way. That will be the easiest way for a good start.
Gotcha. So it sounds like you just do the E-mini and the oil.
Right. Once I'm gonna do the first thing I'm gonna do is get it up and running for the e-mini. That's it. Once I get the kinks worked out with the TWS, the API.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't be using that. You said Motive will have to use that. But once I get that worked out, then I can move on to the other different time frames and all the different news reports that come out and all the events.
Right.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I should do it.
Well, they have the ES Micro now, I guess.
Yeah, they do.
I'm not sure how the volume is there.
Right. I'm definitely. It's a lot of information on MotiveWave on YouTube that to get and look into how this thing is supposed to be working, or I can contact MotiveWave myself.
Yeah, I think they got a pretty good sales department.
Okay.
Answer your questions.
I'll reach out to them.
Yeah, they're really good.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No
it was
problem,
nice
man.
talking to you. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Okay, thanks.
Nope, and we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day. See you later.